Is episode 2 coming? And will these characters definitely appear in the new episode of our favorite show? Hello everyone. Today I would like to talk to you about the new characters we will see in the new episode of Digital Circus, and also a little bit about the release date of our amazing show. A few days ago, Gooseworx posted a very interesting image on Twitter with the caption, "The fruits of my labor." From the style in which this character is drawn, I can safely say that he is definitely from the Digital Circus. But who can we see him as? It is obvious to everyone that he is an overweight crocodile. It is unlikely that such a character can survive in the Digital Circus for a long time, for several reasons. First of all, we all know a rabbit like Jax, and to be honest, I'm sure he'll make very crude jokes and possibly mock our Krogo. I'd call him that. In general, he looks like a pretty nice character, and that makes it much harder for me to say the following than to say that he would be one of the inhabitants of a digital circus, like Pomni or Kinger. Most likely, he will be one of the NPCs Kane will create for his quest, and behind his friendly exterior is an aggressive nature that just wants to eat one of our characters. But where would he fit in perfectly? Remember how I said in one of the videos that there's a 99% chance we'll see new locations in the new episode, and I'm sure we'll see the lake. And what if Kane comes up with some kind of mission where all the characters have to sail across the lake and find something or rescue someone? I think that would be interesting. But more interesting is the theory that this character has always been with us. We just haven't seen him. It's not like we don't know what or who is lurking in the lake or the amusement park. Maybe Krogo is always living somewhere at the bottom of the lake, waiting for Kane to send him some of the residents who are bothering or interfering with our administrator. What if in the new episode, Pomni is chosen to go to the lake as punishment and we see them meet there? It would be interesting to see. Well, now let's discuss another very sensational leak from Gooseworx. On February 2nd, Gooseworx published a very interesting post with the caption, "That damn cameraman is falling asleep again." And immediately we see a strange image showing 4 silhouettes. One of the users immediately pointed out that this image was shown to viewers sometime before the release of the pilot episode. On the early leak, we were shown absolutely all the characters that will be involved in the future in the pilot episode. But what I found very strange was the fact that they are all arranged in exactly the same way. As far as I understand, this is their basic pose in which they appear in the Digital Circus. Also, this leak is very much like the beginning of any game where we have to decide which character we are going to play as. And since here we see all the characters except Bubble and Kaufmo, we can guess that these 4 brand new characters may appear either in the next episode altogether or will be shown to us in different episodes. I'm sure that this is not just a joke, but a real spoiler from Gooseworx because it has never been seen to make fun of its audience. Now let's try to look at this image in more detail. We see 4 characters of different colors, and already a huge number of theories are built around them. Let's look at each of them one by one, and in the end we will determine who is who. The first character shown to us is a white cylinder, but if you look more closely, you can see the outline of arms and legs. Stop. You don't think that's a good angle either? Let's flip our spoiler over. That's much better. A lot of people thought that this character is a cigarette, and it's really very true, but I'm sure that Gooseworx will not promote smoking among its audience because we all realize how harmful it is. If you look closely, you can tell that he has a very strange body, because the white line that we can clearly see is just his belly or some kind of costume, and his real body is hidden in the back and is some kind of green substance. Also stands out his right hand, because it has a bright orange coloring, and by the way, exactly the same in this character's eyes. And if you look carefully, you could immediately notice that at one point, there is a clear transition between white and gray color, which means that this area is his head. And from the looks of it, his head will be elongated like a dog or a raccoon. Let's now consider the most interesting character, namely this green monster, which on the one hand looks like a character from the cartoon Megamind, and on the other hand is an exact copy of the aliens in the most classic of their representation. However, this character has one huge difference from all the other characters in our video. All characters have a clear outline, and this green alien has a glow on the periphery of the body, and unlike all the others, I cannot see his eyes. I can also see that this character will be wearing a skirt, so we can safely say that it will be a girl. And I have an assumption that all this green image is a full-fledged costume under which someone else will be hiding. Could it be the well-known Kaufmo? Or maybe it's someone we've never seen. Next, we will talk about another girl from this spoiler, namely this very interesting princess. Maybe it's the well-known Princess Peach from the Nintendo video game series, or maybe it's a reference to Piper from Brawl Stars. Of course, this is all a joke, and without prior agreement, the author has no right to use a character from another universe due to copyright. It is also noticeable that this princess has the tallest stature of all the newcomers, and I think she will be one of my favorites in the Digital Circus. But what is surprising is that she doesn't have a crown or tiara on her head, but we can see some strange star on her head. What do you think that could be telling us? And now for the funniest character of all. This is our new blue friend. I'll be honest with you, I was really surprised to see it. Some think it's a reference to the Michelin character, some think it's a recycled version of Huggy Wuggy. I can agree with them, but I can also refute their theories. You can see that this character is a kind of reference on Zooble, because he is not a whole creature like our Zooble. You can see that each part of his body is a separate ball that is connected to the other on the principle of a magnet. And it is important to note that this is the only character whose face we can see most clearly. At least you can tell exactly where his eyes and mouth are. And his face reminds me very much of the world-famous Freddy Bear. And the body is very much like the character Blue from the Rainbow Friends universe. I would like to devote a little time to a very strange but no less interesting theory. What if there is a collaboration with Garten of Banban? Maybe it's a complete nonsense, but still this theory has the right to exist because these characters are really something similar to the characters from the Banban universe. And whatever I say, but there is still a possibility that the authors of the amazing Digital Circus could agree with the creators of this game and make some references of the characters in the Digital Circus. And it would be really interesting to see them as anti-heroes in some Kane adventure. But I'm pretty sure it's all just a theory. We'll be talking about the release of the new episode soon, but before then, I can't help but tell you about some of the characters that may be making an appearance in the new episode. And we're talking about fan favorite Quenny. A lot of people are clamoring for her to appear in the new episode because her life story can tell us a lot about what is really going on in the Digital Circus. And I've never seen such a huge fan base for a character that doesn't even exist. And what about Jax? On one of the old concept art we saw, Jax looked very strange. I think everyone agrees that he does not look like a man at all. Many are sure that this is just a joke of the developers. But what if it's not? Suddenly it is a reference to a future character like Jay-Z. What if it's the girlfriend or sister of our bully? And I'll be objective. The appearance of such a character could very much change the behavior of Jax himself, and so it would be very fascinating to watch his character change. Or he will remain the same bully who humiliates and bullies others for fun. And now it's time for dessert. Let's talk about the release of the new episode of the amazing Digital Circus. Based on what we've heard earlier, you've realized that this image was shown to us before the release of the pilot episode, so this spoiler signals the release of the new episode. And also 2 weeks ago, we were once again pleased by Glitch publishing a post with a reference to the famous anime Keep Your Hands Off Izuken. What's the big deal, and what does it have to do with the release? Some users suggested that in this way the creators are hinting that there are too many channels that create content on the topic of Digital Circus, and that all assumptions about the new release date seem funny to them, and so they decided to show everyone that no one has no idea when the new episode. That means this long-awaited event could be so soon that we have no idea. We've already seen the new mini teaser. We've seen the new characters. All of this screams to us that in the near future, we will be able to enjoy the new episode. And now we will find out when it will happen. I'm thinking between February and March. We've long been told that you'll see more of the Digital Circus in early 2024. And all things considered, I'm sure it won't be long before we see a trailer for the second episode and we'll get a full episode at the end of February. And that's the end of our amazing story about new characters, release date, and theories around the second episode. And I would like to wish you success and luck and say see you soon in the new videos that appear every 2 days.